On January 30th, 1945, a ship carrying more than 10,000 people sailed into the frozen Baltic Sea. Most of them were women. Most of them were children. Almost all of them were refugees running for their lives. Within a single hour, nearly everyone on board would be dead. This is the true story of the Wilhelm Gustloff, the deadliest shipwreck in human history, with more victims than the Titanic, and one of the most forgotten tragedies of World War II. The Wilhelm Gustloff was launched in 1937, not as a warship, but as a symbol. It was built by Nazi Germany as a luxury cruise liner, meant to show the world the so-called perfect German life. The ship had swimming pools, dining halls, bright cabins, and theaters. It was propaganda floating on water. But by 1945, the dream was over. Germany was collapsing. The Red Army was advancing from the east, and millions of civilians were fleeing in terror. Entire cities were emptying overnight. In desperation, Nazi leaders launched what became known as Operation Hannibal, one of the largest sea evacuations in history. Anything that could float was ordered to carry people westward. Warships, fishing boats, cargo ships, and even luxury liners were filled far beyond their limits. The Wilhelm Gustloff was designed to safely carry about 1,800 people. On the night of January 30th, more than 10,000 were forced on board. No one kept a proper passenger list. Families were separated. Children were handed to strangers. People filled hallways, staircases, storage rooms, and every open space they could find. Outside, the Baltic Sea was frozen and black. Inside, the ship felt like a prison. The Gustloff left port overloaded, under-escorted, and dangerously unprepared for war conditions. Its lifeboats were not enough. Many were frozen in place by ice and snow. There were not enough life jackets. There was not enough time. As the ship moved into open water, the captain made a decision that would seal everyone's fate. Fearing collision with other German vessels, he ordered the ship's navigation lights to be turned on. In a war zone, in submarine waters, that single choice turned the Wilhelm Gustloff into a glowing target in the darkness of the Baltic Sea. Not far away, beneath the icy surface, a Soviet submarine known as S-13 was on patrol. Its commander spotted the illuminated ship and believed it to be a military transport. There was no warning. There was no chance to escape. At 9:16 p.m., 3 torpedoes were fired. The first tore into the bow of the ship. The second exploded beneath the swimming pool, where dozens of women and children were sheltering from the cold. The third ripped through the engine room, cutting power and plunging the ship into darkness. Within minutes, the Wilhelm Gustloff was dying. Panic exploded inside the ship. People screamed in total darkness. Staircases collapsed under the weight of hundreds trying to escape. Doors jammed. Corridors filled with bodies. Some lifeboats were lowered. Most could not be moved. Frozen mechanisms refused to work. Many people made a final decision and jumped into the sea. The water temperature was below freezing. Most lost consciousness within seconds. Death followed within minutes. Children slipped from their parents' hands. Mothers froze while holding babies to their chests. Entire families vanished into the black water without a sound. Inside the ship, the angle grew steeper. People slid across floors. Others were crushed against walls and railings. Some were trapped below deck, listening as the ocean poured in around them. Less than 1 hour after the torpedo struck, the Wilhelm Gustloff disappeared beneath the ice. The sea closed over it. The screams stopped. Silence returned. Out of more than 10,000 people on board, only about 1,200 survived. Over 9,000 men, women, and children were dead. It remains the deadliest shipwreck in recorded history. Yet almost no one talks about it. There were no headlines around the world, no famous movies, no global memorials. The victims were civilians, and they were on the losing side of the war. History moved forward, and the dead were left behind in the cold. The wreck of the Wilhelm Gustloff still lies at the bottom of the Baltic Sea, untouched, protected as a war grave. It is a reminder that war does not only kill on battlefields. Sometimes it kills silently, in the dark, far from cameras and history books. The Wilhelm Gustloff was not just a ship. It was the final, desperate escape of thousands of innocent people. And in one frozen night, the sea took them all. You've just heard another strange chapter from history. Now tell me, what's your opinion? Do you think the story hides more than we know? Share your thoughts in the comments and tell us a story you want to hear next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me in the next mystery.